Hey boos, hey, it is your girl, the Rising Phoenix Empath, coming at you from Maryland. And I want to jump on real quick and give you part 3. Okay. So I gave the offering of the majestic palm. I made a treaty with the land, and the spirits on it. And when I say it, I don't want to scare anybody away. When I say I made the treaty with the spirits on the land, like the land and the blood spilled on the land, and the spirits that inhabit the land, I really wanted to let them know that I see them and that I feel their pain, that I acknowledge the atrocity that happened to them, that I pay homage to them, and that their lives mattered, and that they led beautiful lives, and that they taught people how to cultivate on the land. And I thank them for their contribution, not only to the land, but to history. And I apologized because here I am, a black woman, hundreds of years later, able to buy a home on land that was stolen from them. And how do you make it right? It's not for me to make right, but it is for me to acknowledge that the atrocity happened, that there is pain and trauma still there, still present. And I made a promise to keep the land. And when I say keep, or tend to the land, that I will respect the land and that I will do good with the land. And that good, for me would be to be able to grow veggies, grow herbs, and make my herbal remedies that will, make my community healthier and better. That I will do good, and that I will live a good life with my son on this land. And that, again, I acknowledge that I own the land and that I live here, but I'm acknowledging this as indigenous land and humbling myself to understand that they did come here in this place before me. And I did also acknowledge to them that I am indigenous also. Now, recently, there have been claims of African Americans being indigenous Americans. Also, I haven't done enough research to deny or accept that ideology. I don't know, but I do know I'm indigenous to some land. And I do know that my people experienced a very similar fate. And I do know that in this country, my people have gone through atrocities over a 400-year period. And in the last maybe 100 years, we're just being treated like we are human. And it's an acknowledgement of that reality, right? And I acknowledge that we might not be from the same branch, but we are definitely from the same tree, as I believe that I am a blood descendant of Yeshua. And I also believe in the indigenous people of America to also be blood descendants of Yeshua. And we might not be of the same tribe, but we are definitely, I believe, of the same tree. And in that fact, it makes us brothers and sisters or cousins to a degree. And I can speak to that generational pain. And I can understand it. So that is why I can humble myself and I can acknowledge your pain as well. Or their pain as well. And so that is something that I did. It was a very spiritual thing, and it was very it felt good to do it. It felt right to do it. It felt good and it felt right to do it. I also did, and that was the spiritual aspect of what I did. I also did something physical because I was so caught off because I'm going to, hey you, have a seat right there, my son. I wanted to acknowledge that, because some people will really minimize the danger I was put into on Thursday, and they will say that, oh, he didn't know it was you. I know he knew. I'm an empath, and I know things, and I know he knew. And I know that it was intentional, and I know the spirit in which he did it was hateful. And I do identify it as a racial thing because my grandparents and my great-grandparents and my great-great-grandparents experienced such things when they bought land and tried to go into certain communities where they were not wanted. And this is the kind of behavior, tailgating and chasing. This is the kind of stuff that my ancestors experienced, and here I am in 2023 having to experience the same thing, and I do correlate that to that. And maybe somebody else that experienced that was white wouldn't correlate it to that because that is not the ancestral experience, right? But for me, generationally, this is what my grandparents and great-grandparents and great-grandparents had to contend with. And the very worst case scenario, me and my son could have been killed. Then that's the very worst scenario. And I thank Yeshua that we were not. But that was definitely a possibility. And so I went on Facebook and I posted about what happened on Thursday, but I didn't say any names. I did not indicate that it was my neighbor. I just wanted to record it some way. And same as these videos, I don't care if they see it at this point because it has escalated to the point of tailgating on dark roads where people could really be hurt. And I don't care. I just want to be seen. I just want to be heard. I want to put that out there, and I want to document what I have been experiencing. And so this is my documentation and proof and my truth of the things that I have experienced so far from these individuals. And at this point, I want it to stop. And I believe that it will. I believe that what I did today is the beginning of the end of the shenanigans, so to speak. Okay? That's all I gotta say. I think this might be it. I don't know if I'm gonna do a part 4. But it's over. But I am taking precautions.